All right, welcome back. As I told you the last time we were together, we have to get continuing legal education hours, and last week we were at the conference where they shut down criminal law for 1 week across the entire state, and every prosecutor will go in one building, and every public defender or defense bar goes in another building, and we have classes, and each of those classes give you enough hours to keep your law license. So with that going on, of course, there was no criminal court. So this week we're going to talk about a topic. I hope it's of interest to you. If you've got a niece or a nephew or somebody that's considering law school, this would be the time to pause it and go get them. We're going to talk about discovery for a minute. So when a person is arrested, we've talked about the process of them going and getting a bond and all of that. But as soon as that happens, the police start gathering information that they would present to a judge to say, this is why we believe that this person committed the crime. As they're gathering that, then the prosecutor has to have all of that information too, because where the police have just got to prove to a judge probable cause for 51% for a warrant, prosecutors have got to use that same information to be able to prove it to a jury beyond a reasonable doubt. And there is a period between the arrest and the trial or the plea that's known as the discovery period. And that's really the longest period. It would be really easy if the police took everything that they had and were able to label it, identify it with that particular defendant, and stick it over in a box for us to get everything in the box. But there's 5 or 6 or sometimes 10 police that are always working, collecting information, and it don't always get into the box. It's, you know, if you were the manager of a baseball team, imagine trying to collect everybody's hat and everybody's sliding pants and everybody's cleats at the end of the day. If you got 10 or 12 people, most of the time you're going to get 11 of them or 9 of them, and there's going to be 3 that just chose to carry it up to their room. It's tough, and we are dealing with 10 or 12 cops at any time. Sometimes they don't get it to where it goes. But why it's so important is we as prosecutors have a duty not just to the victim, right? Our duty goes beyond that to the victim and also to the defendant. We got to make sure that the defendant has a fair trial. Now, I guarantee you didn't come on here thinking that the prosecutor is worried in any way about the defendant. It doesn't really mesh with our thoughts of how this thing goes down. But we do. We've got to make sure that that person has all of the evidence that is going to be used against him so that his defense attorney can say, doggone, we need to be able to make a better decision for what best to do with you. And if we've got all of the information, that's one thing. If we don't have all of the information, I might be leading my client, or the defense attorney would say, I might be leading my client down the primrose path. I didn't think there was a fingerprint, or I didn't think there was DNA. You didn't turn it over to me. So if I had known, you know, my client's telling me that he wasn't there, and you didn't show me the fingerprint. That's called discovery. Anything that we are really responsible for discovery in 2 different forms. One is a rule of court. It's called Rule 5. The other is Brady. It's a U.S. Supreme Court case. But basically, it's not everything that's in our file, So if I'm talking to a victim and they give me information that is work product, I may not turn that over. But almost everything in that file will go over to the defense attorney, because everything, when we get up in front of a jury, that is their go-to move. That's what the defense always says. I didn't get that. I didn't get that. It's so bad that we actually bait stamp stuff. Now, I'm not saying that defense attorneys are storytellers, but I am telling you that we have to bait stamp it to say, that is page 876. And I'm not exaggerating. Some of these cases, some of these major cases with digital discovery, they may be terabytes. They may be 10, 15 boxes full of forms that have been converted to paper. It is incredible. It really is. In the Elvis case, I think there was over 80,000 documents by the time we turned it over to the defense attorney. And because they were saying that they didn't get stuff, we had to turn it over 3 or 4 times. We had to just burn up 2 or 3 copiers making this. But that's all discovery. And they will scream, I didn't get it, until the cows come home, even though we've done this so many times that we have a cover sheet. We make them sign all the way down the cover sheet. We have it bait stamped where they have to, but we're doing that to go back in front of a judge and say, look, we gave them all of this stuff. But that's the reason behind discovery is, just take, for example, if I was the defense attorney, I am basing my decision and what to do with your case on what is in front of me. If there's nothing in front of me, or if the prosecutor has held the ball and is hiding some stuff, then I'm going to tell you, don't plead guilty. There's no reason they don't have any evidence, because I'm looking at it and they haven't turned anything over. If they've turned everything over to me and I'm like, oh, geez, you gave a confession? Wow, that hurts your case. Your fingerprints are there. Your DNA is there. There's cameras. Then I can have a discussion with my client based upon what comes in, and a lot of those cases will work out as a plea as opposed to a trial. So it's not the sexiest thing to talk about, but this is really the catch-all when you see all of those pretrial hearings going on before the case starts. It's always fussing over discovery, and we really try to turn over everything from a practical effect, just so that they will be able to make good decisions on what to do with their case. Anyway, we'll start back next week. We're back in court, and obviously we will update you on all of that that's going on. If there are any topics that you want discussed, just comment below, or there are phone numbers up on our page. Call one of those and let us know what you want to hear about, and we'll try to cover that.